Dear friends, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum and a very happy Ramadanul Mubarak to all of you. The need for peace and pluralism, multiculturalism, and communal harmony in India has increased multifold today. This is greater need of the time today than ever before. We need to discover what Indian legacy offers us, all of us, to usher, to rejuvenate, to reshape, and to reinvigorate the ideals of peace and pluralism and multiculturalism. So we have lots of inspirational philosophies inbuilt and well embedded in the Indian civilization. One of them is the beautiful syncretic culture well known as Sufism. Islam in India emerged much in the same way as a spiritual legacy, as a spiritual path to eternal salvation, much in the same way as Sanatan Dharma was spread by the Rishi Munis. So Sufi mystics, Sufi saints in India stood for the unity of existence, the unity of the being known as Wahdatul Wujud, universal brotherhood, Ukhuwat-e Insani, and a deeper personal relationship with the divine, which is called Wisal-e Ilahi. All these beautiful, inclusive, and tolerant teachings hold vital relevance today, especially for contemporary debates on religious pluralism, multiculturalism, communal harmony, and tolerance in India. This emerged in the land of mystics, in the land of saints in India, and this actually has to be rejuvenated today with much fervor, with more vigor, and with a stronger passion. So Sufi mystics and philosophers disseminated their pluralistic teachings, their peaceful messages in the Indian subcontinent at a time when even the idea of religious pluralism was not even debated in the larger part of the Western and European world. At that time, they laid great emphasis on the broader notion of vasatiya, moderation in life, and maintaining a moderate narrative in thought, habits, culture. So this exhorts us not to transgress the limits determined by the Almighty. All Sufi saints and philosophers, all Sufi mystics practice this spiritual principles in its entirety, and they shunned all forms of harshness, violence, and exaggeration, ghulu, not only in matters of faith, but in all walks of life. So these Sufi saints actually inspired a huge following by their theory of sulh-e-kul, reconciliation and peace with all, a Sufi term which essentially means love for all, hatred for none. So Indian Sufis were keen to share commonalities and synergetic culture with adherence of all other people, not only with people of other faiths, but also with people of no faiths. So in this context, we need to understand and appreciate deeply that in India, Islam through Sufism emerged as a point of convergence, not of conflict, as a point of conversation and not a debate, as a point of dialogue and not a debate. And Sufis, saints were keen to share their thoughts, their practices, notably with yogis and the mystics of the Vaishnav tradition, both influential in this land of age-old Vedic tradition. Their universality was beautifully reflected in their halakas, in their harmonious music, in their sima, and this went much against the vehement opposition from the orthodox clergy. As a result, the Sufi philosophers and mystics were loved and admired by one and all, by people of all caste and creed, all faiths and traditions. They were equally inspired by the immense sincerity and simplicity in the lives of these mystically inclined saints, and imbued with the lofty mystical experiences. India's Sufis lived by the prophetic ideal of simple living. They actually appealed to all Indian peoples, all Indian masses, regardless of caste and creed. And this was their spiritual legacy of humanism, universal brotherhood, and social activism. Sufi saints of India combined their mystical surge with a spirit of social service, khidmat-e-khalq, social activism, and it was upheld by their khanqahs running across the country as seminaries of mystical learning, experience, and enlightenment. The greatest Sufi saint who had a fair share in preaching this legacy was Khwaja Muinuddin Chishti of Ajmer, who left his abode Herat in Afghanistan in higher search of spiritual learning and experience. He visited central Islamic seminaries of his time, traveling across Central Asia to Middle East, and Khwaja Sahab came to Punjab thrice, and then he came to Delhi once, but at the end of the day, he settled in Ajmer Sharif. The point is, these Sufis, wherever they went, they tried to adapt themselves to the local cultures and ethos. And this is highly important to maintain communal harmony. What we often fail to do is connect our religious ethos with the local culture. Islam has never ever been culture exclusive. It has always been culture friendly. Wherever Islam spread, it adapted itself to the local culture. See, in Indonesia, for instance, Islam Nusantara. Islam Nusantara means the contextualization, vernacularization, and localization of the universal messages and essential messages, values of Islam in the local context. Similarly, what we have to do in India as Muslims in order to maintain cultural fabric, social fabric of India is to adapt ourselves, adapt our religious thoughts, adapt our spiritual thoughts to the local culture ethics as the Sufi saints did in the past. And this is how we can go a long way in rejuvenating the beautiful syncretic culture of India. Thank you very much. A very happy Ramadan. Khuda Hafiz.